Hey Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs post-game show presented by PointsBet. Use the promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Cody Del Mendo, Luke Stuckmeyer here as the Cubs beat the Rays 4-2 to open a cold series at Wrigley Field. It's a nice win for the Cubs. And Cody, you know, we didn't think the game was even going to be played.
Right.
Let alone played well by the Cubs. And there were so many stars, really, for the Cubs in this game. You could pick anybody as your player of the game, and a lot of guys contributed.
That's been the story of this game or this season so far, Luke. Like
Really?
every night, it's someone new. There's not one person sticking out. I mean, I know Seiya Suzuki has just been killing it and all of that, but like this past weekend in Colorado and the 2 games they won, like everyone all across the lineup was doing something. You got big innings out of the bullpen. Drew Smiley yesterday, and a lot of that we saw tonight too. So, yeah, I mean, it's not just 1 or 2 guys. It's like everyone just chipping in, doing their part, man.
I mean, we do our who you got in the pregame show, and we didn't have any obvious winners in the first one. And tonight I took Wisdom and you took Suzuki, and really you could argue that both of them potentially are winners in that. Wisdom 1 for 3, the home run, 2 RBI. Suzuki 2 for 3 and 2 runs scored. Both guys were instrumental in the Cubs winning. I'll go to the pitching, and you mentioned the bullpen. Kyle Hendricks was better than he was last start, but for me, I'll go Keegan Thompson maybe as the MVP of this game. I mean, he was lights out for 3 2/3, right?
Yes.
I mean,
Keegan Thompson, man, this guy.
They might have something there.
Yeah. Whether, I kind of like the role he's in, though, is kind of like that middle innings. Like, I know we've been saying he's been the piggyback guy for Justin Steele, but he comes in tonight for Kyle Hendricks. And maybe it would have been different if the Cubs bullpen wasn't so taxed after a long weekend at Coors Field. But, geez, Keegan Thompson, dude, like, he's just going out there and shoving it down their throats, man. Like, there's nothing. No one is figuring him out right now, and I absolutely love to see it. Corey in the comments, Keegan Thompson for mayor. Hell yeah, man! I have been on the Keegan Thompson train ever since he hit Andrew McCutchen. I've been all about it. So.
And he's been good all season. We talked in all the shows leading up to the season opener. Where would he fit into this team? And I know you said you'd like to see him stick in the bullpen. And right now, he's finding a nice niche there. And Scott says, he's kind of it's Darius actually says, he's our Ben Zobrist, the Swiss Army knife of the pitching staff. And you know what? That could be a really valuable role if that's where they decide to keep him because he's been successful. And then the other side of it is, okay, if he's successful at this role for a long period of time, then you can also look and say, well, yeah, but maybe you stretch him out for 2 more innings, and now you have yourself a pretty good starter. So It's a good problem to have.
Oh, yeah.
And use him this way right now while he's doing well. But he just looks like a different guy. He looks confident out there. Somebody said he's not baby-faced. Now he's a baby-faced assassin out there.
Yeah. So, last year when he got called up, got called up beginning of May last year, and out of the bullpen, the Cubs used him, maybe 1 inning. They tried to go 2 a few times. And most of those times, if he went 1 inning, he'd be fine. But anytime they tried to extend it beyond that, you would see some not so good things most times.
Right.
And then when they tried to get him into a starter role, didn't work out at all. So to see what he's doing this year, multiple innings out of the bullpen, it's insane. I don't think anyone saw this coming. I know David Ross called him a weapon.
Yeah.
But almost 4 innings tonight? And again, getting the big outs in the middle of the game when the Rays had the momentum after Hendricks came out. Keegan Thompson legitimately changed this game for the Cubs.
Cody, I don't want to get you too excited.
I'm already too excited.
But Keegan Thompson is not the reliever that you were most excited about going into this season. Was Ethan Roberts. And he has looked good too. Yeah. So the Cubs have some pieces that have done very well early in the season, both at the plate and also in the pitching staff. Like, they've had guys show you a little something in these first few games, and they're off to a good start. You know, the team's off to a good start. The offense has certainly been much better, but Keegan Thompson is one of those guys you got to put an asterisk by him, like, because early in the season, he's showing you something where if he can continue this.
Maybe this is a little too much, but like, remember when Josh Hader first came on the scene?
I was just about to bring that up.
Yeah, yes. When Josh Hader came on the scene with the Brewers, they used him as like a middle inning, like 2-3 inning guy, and he killed it. And now he's the closer. Like, I don't know if Keegan Thompson's going to reach that level, but he sure as hell looks like someone who could be that at that kind of level.
I forgot something. You guys, I got to go get something. You guys talk about Keegan Thompson. I'll be right back.
We're going to talk about Keegan Thompson.
Let's absolutely talk about Keegan Thompson. It's so funny you mentioned that because I was thinking about it the entire time I saw him up there for it. And it's way too early to compare him to the best relief pitcher in baseball.
Right.
Which Josh Hader obviously heads and shoulders above pretty much anybody in the league at the moment and has been the last couple of years. But it's fun to forecast what Keegan Thompson could be tonight. And let's not gloss over the fact when it's 30 degrees and you're trying to grip a baseball, it's really hard. And he had that tonight, especially with the drop and a couple of his sliders. Man, I mean, the G-Man Choi strikeout, come on.
Yeah. Oh, the Choi one. Yeah. Pitching Ninja put that clip out on his account tonight. Anytime a Cubs pitcher gets put up or gets highlighted by the Pitching Ninja, I get like so excited because again, they're being recognized by one of the bigger accounts on baseball Twitter. And there's just a lot of people who don't know about what this Cubs staff is.
Right. And I think we saw too early on in the year too, we saw with Kyle Hendricks already got recognized in Pitching Ninja a few times. And I even think, didn't Ethan Roberts get on there once?
Ethan Roberts has been on there. That slider that he, with his first career strikeout, I believe, got on there. We've seen a few Cubs pitchers get on there. I think Kyle Hendricks is on there tonight, too.
I love this comment, too, that just rolled in from Darius. He's been on it tonight. Don't forget about Rowan Wickens got out for us. Yeah, they didn't pitch tonight, but here's what Luke forgot. What do we got? Is that UV shot? Is that UV blue?
It's something.
UV blue?
Cubby Kool-Aid shot. Keegan Thompson gets one.
Yeah.
There you go. Pound him back.
Yeah. Woo! That's good stuff, baby. That's
Cubby
good stuff.
Kool-Aid, first one of the season.
We're like, what? There's 6 wins now. We're 5 wins late, but
that went down smooth.
Yeah. Oh my God. So I like this comment from Nick. Says Michael Cerami posted Keegan's stats so far: 9.2 innings pitched, 4 hits, 0 earned, 2 walks, and 10 strikeouts. Shout out to Bleacher Nation, by the way. Yeah, dude, like that just sums it up. He's just been lights out. And yeah, it is too early, like you said, to compare him to like a Josh Hader. But
if you're drinking the Cubby Kool-Aid,
for sure,
go ahead and do it.
Year, right?
Yeah.
But like if you just the forecast of what potentially could be there, whether it is as a bullpen guy or not, he's got nasty stuff, man, filth, whatever you want to call it. Man, it was fun to watch. It was honestly, it was more fun watching him pitch tonight than watching the Cubs offense.
But the Cubs offense has been something too.
Yeah.
They came into the game the best offense in baseball. Right. Batting .281, leading the league in a lot of different categories. What was the stat that Obvious Shirts just put out through 10 games? They've got like twice as many hits as they did last year at this point.
Yeah.
Right. And the runs are pretty close to double as well, too.
Right.
So,
which is no surprise because their offense in April last year was like all-time bad. It took a while for that offense to get going last year. So
well, tonight Shane McClanahan was pretty good.
Yeah,
he gave up that home run to Wisdom, and after that he was shutting down the Cubs for a while. It was good to get him out of the game. The Cubs needed to get him out of the game, and they benefited from it. But so there's your first star is Keegan Thompson, right?
Yeah.
Patrick Wisdom has been lights
table.
out, right?
He set the tone of the game.
He set the tone of the game, and we said Thursday, Corey was on the post-game show with us, and Twitter and the chat and all over the place, there was a lot of Patrick Wisdom hate.
Right.
A lot of Patrick Wisdom hate. And we said, listen, we're not saying he's going to be a star player. We don't know that he's going to do what he did in the first half last season. All we can say is there's no reason not to play him right now. You have nobody that you need to be playing at third base. Mm-hmm. He's young. See what you got. Give him a break. It's early in the season. And since we said that, the last 4 games, 7 for 12, 5 doubles, 5 ribbies, and a home run.
Yeah. I think
that sounds like wisdom from us. That's what I'm starting to think.
We're giving y'all daily wisdom.
No, most of the people on actually, I should say most of the people on the chat were pretty much with us. They were like, why not? But Cubs Twitter can be an angry place at sometimes, and there was a lot of wisdom hate. And
sure.
I'm not saying it's going to continue the rest of the season, but as you say, Cody, the vibes are good.
Vibes are good.
The vibes are good, so why not play him? I saw him in the dugout with Frank Schwindel after the Schwindel home run, and it was like they kind of looked at it like, come on, we can do this.
Yeah.
You know, like everybody thinks we're not going to be able to do it. Let's prove them wrong.
Right. And I can say this about any past team or current team that here in Chicago when you got guys like that, but like it's just so easy to like root for this team right now. Like it really is. Like I'm trying. I'm really trying, Luke. I'm really trying to stay level-headed and like understand that this is a developmental year and that, you know, my 87 win total is like insane to really think about it to actually happen. And like I understand it all. But man, the first 10 games of the year, and I'm like, maybe I'm not that far off. Like maybe 80 wins is possible, like you predicted. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
I said 500, right at the 500 mark.
You said 500. And like right now, it's just like you look at this division, you look at how they've played against good teams. I mean, again, the Rays are probably the best team that they've played.
Oh, yeah.
I would say they're better than Milwaukee. And their pitching staff is better than, like, it's right up there with Milwaukee.
They're close.
You know what I mean? And they just, like, there was every chance for Tampa Bay to take this game tonight. And the Cubs, they just didn't let them take it.
So Keegan Thompson could have been our star of the game.
Yep.
Patrick Wisdom could have been the star of the game. And who was just on here? Timothy's like, well, what about Ian Happ? He had the game-winning hit. So there's the third guy with something to prove this season.
Oh, yeah.
That came up big again in this game. Thompson's trying to prove he belongs. Happ's trying to prove he belongs long-term. And, you know, so
Schwindel, he hit the homer.
Schwindel's trying to prove, but Ian Happ did come up with a big hit.
Yeah. And I won't lie. I didn't feel good about his at-bat going into it because it's been very well known and talked about that Ian Happ is better from the left side of the plate.
But he has been better from the right side.
But yeah, so far this year, he has been better from the right side of the plate. Most of the time from the right side of the plate, he's been taking the ball the opposite field. This time he actually pulls one and gets it through the hole. So the baseball gods must have owed him one. I don't know. But he still hit it hard enough to get it through there. So, you know, I like what I'm seeing out of Ian Happ. You know what I mean?
Ginger on the chat says, optimism train, baby.
Baby.
And you know what? Get the Cubby Kool-Aid out. Do a shot with us. We're going to do it after a game, you know.
Right.
A feel-good win. Do a Cubby Kool-Aid shot.
This was good. This is good. So I love the comment section right now.
The comments are positive tonight, you know.
Yes,
like people are at least, listen, you don't know how many there are going to be this year. Enjoy the wins when they come if you're a Cubs fan.
Right.
Because there might be stretches. No, there will be stretches that will be very difficult this season.
For sure.
So enjoy them while they're good. All right, so let's talk about the other guy that really has been spectacular. He also, as I mentioned, you could pick him as one of your top 4 stars easily. Seiya Suzuki comes in as the National League Player of the Week. Nice way to start your career in the big leagues.
Right.
Batting .412, 3 homers, slugging percentage over 1,000, top 5 in F4, slugging, home runs, and OBP. And he gets 2 more hits tonight? Yeah. 2 more hits tonight.
I know he got hit by a pitch. And then
I think he's 2 for 3.
Oh, and he almost had that double.
Yeah.
And then which is a hit. But yeah, I would say 2 hits. Yeah, makes sense.
You have a box score?
I can look it up right now.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he had 2 hits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that still counts as a hit, though. Yeah. And that was the hit that extended his hit streak to 9 games, and he tied for the longest streak for a Japanese-born player to start his career.
Yeah.
Which, that's just mind-blowing to me.
And
2 for 3 tonight.
2 for 3 tonight. So 2 more hits. He comes in.
2 for 3 and 3, and they got hit by a pitch to reach base 3 times.
Reach base 3 times. Yeah. And
It's
when he
unbelievable what
got
he's done.
I believe when he got hit by that pitch too, he had like a 3-2 count. So he was in.
You could argue that was a double too. He was really close to being safe at second.
That could have. I mean, that was one of those moments where if the Cubs would have lost this game, we would have looked back and been like, man, like you missed opportunity.
Wisdom's coming up. He's been hot.
Right.
He could have been on base.
Right.
Yeah, but I like his approach in everything he does, whether it's in the outfield, whether it's his base running, being aggressive, whether it's his approach at the plate, which has been just unbelievable.
Right.
You like everything you see from the guy. And for him to tell reporters, or Jordan Bastian was the Twitter post that I saw, there probably were others, but he said, he's not even looking at the video before the games. He's not even breaking down video. He's just using the eye test. And he wants to see it himself as he learns about pitchers in the major leagues. And I that's unbelievable that he hasn't used those resources yet. And he's off to this start. Right. Oh,
there he is, folks.
Checking in, Ryan Herrera from the ballpark.
Hello.
How's it going?
Cold. I hope you guys are enjoying the warmth over there at the CHGO
We are.
studio.
Actually, we are. We turned up the furnace in here as well.
You know what? It was a 2-hour, 43-minute game, so a little less time spent in the cold today, which thumbs up.
Yeah, you would think it was probably cold a little bit in Denver those first couple games, but man, you wouldn't think you'd have to come home and get this brutal
snow.
Snow in Denver, sure. Snow in Chicago the end of April, that's a little much.
It is a little much.
Yeah. No, trust me. I was standing on the field, and all of a sudden you see just the snow falling down, so it wasn't my favorite thing to come back to, I'll tell you that much.
Ryan, you missed it. We did our Cubby Kool-Aid shots when we were talking about Keegan Thompson, because I had the take that perhaps he could be like on the same path as one Josh Hader one day. Not saying he is right now, but en route to that. I know you're Mr. Objective here, so what do you think of that take? Do you understand where I'm coming from when I say it?
I think. Do I think Keegan Thompson has the stuff to be a very a lockdown reliever like he showed today? Sure, 100%. I know he still wants to start eventually. I think that's his goal. But you saw it today. It's Rossi called him like a weapon. It's 3 and 2/3 shutdown innings. He had 2 base runners, I think. I mean, he's in the times that he's been out there so far this year. Yeah, granted we're only 10 games in, but he's been probably the best reliever that Ross has had, that Hottovie's had, that the Cubs have had. So as far as is he going to be a lockdown 9th inning closer like Josh Hader? That he definitely will have to prove that over a long period of time. But he's got great stuff. I mean, you saw that curveball I think he struck out Choi with.
Yes.
That was on Pitching Ninja within 10 seconds. That was dirty. And he's got great stuff like that. And when it's working and when he's only going, maybe one time through the order, he's on and you can see it. And so maybe that's his role. Maybe that's moving forward. Because, when he was a starter last year, you saw that he struggled a little bit getting after that first time through the order. So if his role is 3 innings, 3 and a couple more to get through the order, 1 full time, and he shuts him down, and I think that's what the Cubs need, and he can definitely serve that, especially this early in the season. That's a good role for him right now.
Well, I only had really compared him to Josh Hader because when Josh Hader first came to the majors, he started out kind of in this role where he would pitch multiple innings. The Brewers used him and they'd bring him in the 6th or 7th and let him go until the 8th, and then I think it was a former Cub who was their closer in 2018. I forgot his name. He was the closer for the Cubs in 2020.
That then went to the Brewers.
Oh,
no. Was with the Brewers
Jeffries.
and then came
to Jeremy
Jeffries.
Jeffries, yes. But that season in 2018, I believe Hader was he'd come in 6th, 7th inning.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And then Jeffries would come in the 9th after Hader pitched and through the 8th most nights or most games that he came in. So it's a little different. Obviously, we're bringing in Thompson in the 4th inning today, but that to me, that's the only reason I kind of compared it because I just don't really know where the Cubs see Thompson. I know Thompson got his chance to earn a chance to be a starter last year, and it didn't really work out. But he looks I don't want to say he looks like a complete different pitcher because I definitely remember seeing some of this stuff out of the bullpen last year from him, but he's been on another level, in my opinion, so far.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Josh Hader. I mean, he came up through the Brewers system as a starter, and then once he got to the majors, he became, they brought him up as a reliever, and obviously has excelled like that. So, do I think Keegan Thompson would have to prove that over a long period of time? Can he be a shutdown ninth inning closer? At the same time, I don't even know if baseball. It seems like baseball is kind of moving away from Hall of Fame ninth inning, like this guy's ninth and work backwards. Not a lot of teams like those high leverage inning guys, and you saw. As soon as Kyle Hendricks got into a lot of trouble, Ross took him out, brought in Keegan, got that double play, and then trusted him for another 3 1/3. So I think that's so far has been a very good role for him. And he's obviously excelled. And so if he can keep proving that a long time, I mean, that's a role that, again, which we talk about the piggyback options, especially early in the season after the short spring, that's clearly a role that right now Keegan Thompson is doing very well. And so I think I'm not even going to look down the road and say he could be a ninth inning Josh Hader type of closer. I'm just going to say right now, the role that he's in, he's proving that he can excel, and that's all the Cubs can ask for at this point.
I look at it and I think, I don't. If I'm a Cubs fan, I shouldn't care what the role is right now. Like if it's closer, if it's piggyback guy, if it's spot starter guy, right now he's pitching as many innings as Drew Smyly, who's also done really well for the Cubs. They're just coming in a different time in the game right now. And all you want to see if you're the Cubs and Cubs fans should be development, progress, steady progress in the same direction where he's getting guys out. You can start to count on him. You could figure out his role next season, the end of the season, later this season. As long as he's pitching like this, I don't care where David Ross is using him if I'm a Cubs fan. You're looking at that and saying, I want him to pitch well and be counted on and relied on and deliver. And right now he's doing all those things. And frankly, he's not he's the guy in the bullpen right now, but other guys I think have looked really good. I don't know about you, Ron. And Cody, I think F. Ross has looked really, really good for the Cubs in several outings. I think Ethan Roberts has looked pretty good in some outings. And then, maybe not in a couple others, but their young pitchers have looked very good. And some of the veteran guys they've brought in, you can't ask for more than you're getting from Drew Smyly right now.
Right. David Robertson, too.
David Robertson, they've got a lot of guys that are pitching well, and I think there's definitely a reason for optimism, especially when you talk about the young guys.
For sure.
And, I mean, you could look at, too, what they've been doing front office-wise. I mean, look what they did last year and flipping guys like Tepera and Chafin, guys who you didn't really hear of before, and you flipped them for prospects, and they were great. Maybe that's a high positive that you can look at when you're building a team, and this could be something you could build on for the future. I mean, the next couple of years, you're going to still need guys defined in the back end of that bullpen. I don't know. I think it's just an impressive way to build a roster, and they've done back-to-back years of doing that to start the year.
It is impressive the way they've found arms. There's no question about that, especially guys that just been names in baseball and had been able to turn them into something else. But for me, it's the young guys. Again, before going into this game, sure, I would have said Keegan Thompson has looked good, but I like the way F. Ross looked. I know it wasn't perfect in Colorado, but
no one's perfect in Colorado who pitches.
He still was impressive. He still looked like a major league reliever, and I don't know. I think they have something going with the bullpen, and that's a tricky thing to find in Major League Baseball.
Again, I remember we answered one of the questions from the Discord about the bullpen. Someone was like, do we need to immediately fix the bullpen?
Yeah.
And I was like, I promise you, we are not going to worry about the bullpen this year. And right now, there's no reason to worry about the bullpen. That is the Cubs' strength right now, is the bullpen.
Yeah, but the offense has been good too.
That's true.
Ryan, what were the thoughts about, or what were people saying at the ballpark about Seiya Suzuki, National League Player of the Week, and goes 2 for 3 again? And I just find it fascinating the way he's so smoothly transitioned into Major League Baseball.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like we talked about how he's going to have this adjustment period or whatever. And it seems to have come and went already. It's not been extended. Maybe that adjustment period all happened in spring. That's we asked Ian Happ about it, and that's what he said. He's like, all that he did have that adjustment period. It was just in spring, and now he's past it. And the first 10 games of the season. He had 10-game on-base streak, 9-game hitting streak to start his career. I mean, obviously everyone's happy for him. Maybe it's surprising how quickly he has been successful at the plate, but no one's surprised that he's having just in general success because everyone talks about how great of a hitter he is, his plate approach, his plate discipline, his power, his ability to put the bat on the ball. Like that's just everything. Even today, again, Ross, Ian Happ, like everyone talks about Seiya Suzuki as a hitter, and just again, maybe earlier than a lot of people expected him to be successful at the plate, but still just no one was surprised that he, in general, is having success as a hitter because everyone knew that he was going to be very good when coming in.
And we want to remind people that you can read all of Ryan's work at allchgo.com. Jared Willis also writes stuff there. Brendan's done stuff. Cody probably doing some too.
Yeah, I got an idea. We'll talk about it.
Oh, we got an idea coming up, huh?
In the second segment, yeah.
Ryan, what are you working on for tonight or tomorrow?
We got a little bit on Suzuki. Thinking, talking to some guys and a lot of people. Again, we already talked about Keegan Thompson, but a lot of people are hyped about what he did. So you could be on the lookout for that. But yeah, just in general, talking about this Cubs team that's right now surprising a lot of people just how quickly they changed the makeup of that offense. We talk about the contact and not striking out too much and putting the ball in play when you got guys on base. Like we didn't even talk about Ian Happ, but that go ahead single through the left side through the left side, but as a right-handed hitter, right, which we've talked about before, that was historically a lot better as a lefty than as a righty. But another big hit for him from the right side, as a righty at the plate, knocks in Suzuki, who scores the eventual winning run. But just putting that ball in play, it's just stuff like that is what I'm kind of working on, what I'm looking into a little bit. But that's just again around the clubhouse. When you talk to David Ross, that's a lot of the things people are saying is just how quickly and how consistently this lineup is kind of changing what they are. It's not what do we call it the other day? All or nothing or boom or bust or whatever. It's not home run or strikeout anymore. They're putting the ball in play consistently. You can see that every single game. So especially Seiya Suzuki, like that's the big one. There's a reason he was named NL Player of the Week in like his first real full week as a major leaguer. So be on the lookout for that. Check out allchgo.com. If you haven't subscribed, you should, because we've got a lot of good stories to tell coming up.
I got one question, and it's not really related to anything we've been talking about, but I've been wanting to talk to you about this because it was news that came out on Saturday and we didn't have a show or anything, but Alfonso Rivas was optioned at AAA Iowa, and I know a lot of people on Cubs Twitter were pretty upset about it. I was more so thinking at the time when it happened that it was just to create space for Mark Leiter Jr., and now it's been 2 days and Mark Leiter Jr. is still on the roster, so I'm assuming he's now going to make another start. Is that what David Ross is leaning to? Is Alfonso Rivas, like I assume he will be coming back sometime soon, but I understand this roster is full of so many guys right now. You just unfortunately, you just got to cut some guys down to Iowa when you absolutely have to. So, like, what should we all expect for that? If we're looking a little bit ahead.
First you mentioned Cubs Twitter being upset about something. That's not surprising.
Shocking, right?
Yeah, I know. Ross hasn't been like so clear with his plans. I think you can expect Mark Leiter Jr., if not starting another game, he's definitely going to be up there to provide pitching depth. I think that that's kind of the whole reason he was brought up in the first place, especially there. I think it's 13 straight days with games, and then 19 and 20 days. So you need a lot of arms, and with how not everyone was built up coming into the season, like just the more arms you have on the roster, the better it's going to be for that pitching staff as a whole. So you might be able to see Mark Leiter Jr. start another game here in the rotation at some point because I forgot to tweet it out, but we got word that Alec Mills throwing a live BP in Arizona tomorrow. Wade Miley's throwing BP at Wrigley. So those are two arms that we don't you don't know how quickly. There's still TBD, right? There's no firm timetable on when they're coming back. So I think just keeping that pitching depth up, keeping Mark Leiter Jr. up is just going to be just something we see. And Alfonso Rivas will be back. It's not the issue here. He's gonna be back up. He's got 4 more options to go this year, so he will come back. Maybe he'll see him get optioned again at some point. I think that's maybe just like when we talked about right before the season, there was like kind of got down to Ethan Roberts, Alfonso Rivas, Michael Rucker. Like those were kind of the last like who's going to be on the team. And so just as the lone bet in that little group, I wasn't surprised to see Alfonso Rivas go down. But you'll definitely see him back up at some point this year. I think when things are going well for them and they're not worried about the depth at the pitching staff and they have enough arms to get through things, I think Alfonso Rivas has at least proven he deserves a shot to be on the major league roster and be that guy that when you need a lefty bat, you can throw him in there. So, again, I think you'll see him up there. Mark Leiter Jr. hasn't been sent back down, obviously, so that, again, is just going to provide some pitching depth. That's not a surprise. I think that's just the name of the game when it comes to needing that pitching depth, seeing who has minor league options available. Did Cubs Twitter hate it? Sure. Was it probably tough to see Alfonso Rivas, who's trying to get that shot to be an everyday major leaguer? Tough to see him go back down to the minor league? Sure. But that's just the name of the game. And I think, I said it that it's probably Mark Leiter Jr. is not going to be the last arm depth piece you see get brought up and you see another guy get sent back down. It might happen to Rivas again later in the season when they need some pitching depth. But that's just the name of the game. And so you work through that and then see how things develop from here.
Yeah. No, it's just interesting because they also DFA'd Corey Abbott, and I know the Cubs got to look at him at the major league level a little bit last year, and it really didn't go well at all. So I don't know. I don't really know how to feel about them DFAing him, but I do know that Leiter was really good for Detroit's AAA affiliate last year, and maybe that's why they leaned more that route. All in all, I'm just interested to see how it plays out. I guess I'm pretty indifferent about all of it. But again, I wish that we could just have as many roster spots as possible.
You need a 40-man.
Yeah, 40-man.
Yeah,
It
40
did look
man
like
roster
on
for the
MLB's
entire season.
on their website too that a position player, if they get option, they have to be down there at least 10 days. So I didn't know that either. I just read that online. So
wow.
I think that's part of the reason he's still down there.
Oh yeah, Ryan in the comments said that. Shout
I
out
do.
to Ryan.
I have to relook. I don't know that applies for the first, like with the how we have 28 men on the roster
Right.
through May 1st, like that. I think that might have also been another thing that doesn't apply for that first month or whatever it is. I could be wrong on that, so I'll look at that and try to find that answer, and then maybe we can talk about that tomorrow on the show. But I think that is a thing where maybe that 10 days doesn't apply yet. We'll see.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned Miley and Mills both throwing. Have we heard anything about Alzolay at all?
No, nothing about Alzolay. Have you heard anything, Ryan?
No, I assume 60-day, probably still down in Arizona rehabbing. I remember even at the point when spring training started, I think he said it was going to be like 3 or 4 weeks to 3.5 weeks till he could even start throwing. So that would have been around like maybe in this past week. We haven't gotten any recent updates. We could do that for sure. Maybe see if Frost has gotten anything from down in Arizona, which I assume that's still where Adbert is. But that's as far as we know. He's still rehabbing and trying to make it back. Again, it's 60-day IL, so you still got another month and a half until he could even come back up. So,
but that's another name that you'll add to the mix. Hopefully, at some point this season, which could be who knows what role that'll be.
In a way, and this is me thinking that they'll come back and at least be serviceable and be able to go 5 innings. You're going to be adding in arms to help with the bullpen, because obviously the bullpen's been asked a little bit already this season. So you add in those guys. Hopefully you get a little bit more depth out of your rotation, and you get a little bit more. You get some more guys to go longer into games, hopefully by then. So I don't know. It's going to be fun though to watch it all play out.
Austin Gutterman is asking if you've heard any word on David Bodie, Ryan.
So you kind of cut out a little bit. Say that again.
I said Austin Gutterman is on the chat asking if you've heard about David Bodie. Is there any update on Bodie? Has anybody heard anything about him?
No, it's kind of the same thing. Bodie, Edward Ellsway, Bradwick, 60-day IL. It's still quite a ways away from when they could even be activated. So we're just hopefully we can get maybe some updates on that soon. But just for right now, you got a month and a half. So any update right now is like you're still waiting probably another 2 months until they could even play a game, regardless. So
it's funny.
We'll get those.
It's funny how a couple wins sets you into thinking about the future if you're a fan, like if it was a slow start, the fans would say, and a lot of people would say, whenever Alzolay gets back or whenever Miley gets here, whatever. But they win a few games, they look like they could have something going, and all of a sudden, what about the other? And there's a lot of questions. And you know what? Tomorrow's another one with Steele. He's been really good too. And I wonder if the short spring training impacted these guys in a way that maybe we didn't think. Like, I would have thought that a short spring training and Cactus League time would have maybe hindered some of the young guys. Like, they would need that time to work on things with the coaches there, with the manager there. Maybe it took some of the pressure off. Like, there was no time to worry about it. Maybe the young pitchers and hitters were like, nope, time to go. I mean, look at Suzuki. He had no time at all to adjust to anything. He just got thrown into the mix and has started playing. And maybe that's not a bad thing. It seems to be working out okay.
Yeah, it's a nice little.
It's a spin.
Tinfoil hat. type look there, Luke. I like that. But yeah, no, it's kind of like what Ryan said earlier, man. Like, there's a lot of surprises in this team right now, and whether you believe that they're going to be a playoff team or not, it's really fun to watch because, imagine if they trade those guys last year and then, we go into a year where they're feeding us, developmental year, and then, none of these guys were playing well at all. And then you're like, this really is going to be, a long time until, the next great Cubs team. Right now, we haven't even seen Davis or Killian come up.
That's what Scott Crawford just said. Killian's waiting in Iowa to come up.
You have all these guys, and whether we're going to find out if they're going to be able to carry this
Cody, do you
team.
want to change your prediction to 98 wins?
No, I'm sticking to 87. Okay, all I'm saying is you got all these guys who are out to prove something, and then the actual prospects with a high upside are still down there, and they're going to come up eventually. So, it's fun to think about what could be next year, not 2025 like a lot of people told me at the trade deadline. Next year, straight up next year.
I thought the Cubby Kool-Aid shot would have maybe gone to your head, but clearly you've built up a tolerance over the years because Austin Gutterman is saying we're on pace for 97 wins.
Hell yeah.
You're not buying it yet.
I love it. I love the optimism. It's so much more fun than anyone else who's just negative all the time.
Ryan, we should let you go because I know you're frozen and you still got to write your stuff. Thanks for jumping on. Any other nuggets we should know about?
The only nugget I got is that Cody, I like the haircut. You're going to have to recommend me a barber because actually, no, my barber's awesome, so I'm not going to switch, but tell your barber he did a good job.
Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, you should see his shoes too. Show him the shoe. Can you see the shoes?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Dreamsicles.
Yeah.
Those are Lakers colors though, man. Come on.
Yeah. Everyone keeps saying that.
Watching the documentary.
Now they're also a little bit Loyola.
I guess
a
in a
little
way.
Loyola
Don't say
Rambler.
that because I hate that school. But
but the orange is more dreamsicle orange push-up.
I genuinely just like the color. Okay, it has nothing to do with anything.
Cody, he's got the expensive shoes.
Whenever
he's got the nice shoes.
whenever I win a drawing on the sneakers app, it's a good day. So that's what happened. If you know, you know.
All right, Ryan, we'll talk to you tomorrow. Warm up.
All right. See you guys.
Thanks, man.
Take care.
So I won 2 bets tonight.
You did?
I did. I won 2 bets tonight. No runs first inning.
Oh, yeah. I knew you won that one.
And then Patrick Wisdom to get a hit.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what did that rake in?
About
Another pair of shoes?
$20. $20.
not
It's
another
on the
pair
way
of
to
shoes,
another
but
pair of shoes.
It's not a whole pair of shoes. It's the laces. You're getting there.
Yeah, we're getting there. But I made all those bets on PointsBet.
Nice.
Yeah. It's the best way to support CHGO is to download the PointsBet app and use code CHGO when you sign up. If you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you'll receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content. You'll even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. If you have any questions, email pointsbet@allchgo.com and we'll help you. Remember that PointsBet is your home for live in-game betting. They even have a new exclusive feature, live NBA same-game parlay. For the first time ever, build the perfect live same-game parlay only with PointsBet. Combine your favorite bets anytime during the game. You can even boost your live same-game parlays. And now, online sign-up is available in Illinois. You can actually download the PointsBet app right now and register your account from start to finish, all from your phone. Luke's on his phone as I read this right now, and he has the PointsBet app on his phone. He downloaded it. He signed up and everything really fast. And if Luke can do it, so can you. I promise you. I've seen him work technology.
I just retweeted the link to our live show.
Oh, yeah. If you're not following him, at Luke Stuckmeyer on Twitter.
Thank you.
Signing up with the fastest sportsbook is now easier than ever, so you can start living your bet life in seconds. Use code CHGO to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. So what are you waiting for? Once the game starts, don't just bet. Live your bet life with PointsBet. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
CHGO, we're cranking out the podcast, live shows every day, every team. Obviously, this is one of the post-game shows. On the other side of this wall, the Blackhawks guys are doing their post-game podcast.
We're both live right now.
Both live. It's like it's all happening at one time. It's amazing.
It's
technology.
Insane. Amazing.
Premium written content for members, all chgo.com. That's what Ryan's going to work on now. There are a few articles that you can see that are free right now, and those are great. Make sure you check those out. The dope merch is there for all the teams. Free shirt when you become a member, and the members-only Discord. That is the CHGO Lounge, which, again, we're working on the velvet robes. It's a little delayed. Microchips and all that stuff slowing down production on the lounge robes. So we'll see how that goes.
Luke's disappointed.
Well, I wanted them, I thought it'd have been a nice thing to be here in like a smoking robe after a win.
Tonight would have been perfect too, because it's like a chilly night and like it's after dark. Like it's CHGO Cubs After Dark, which I tweeted the other night. I'm like, it's a vibe here. Like
I feel I could have done another one of those Cubby Kool-Aid shots, but we'll wait till the next one. We don't want to build up too much hype. We don't want to build up too much hype.
You got to drive home still too.
You got to drive home, and again, like if you want to join in on the Cubby Kool-Aid shot, you just pay a little extra for the tweet to go up, and then we'll do the shot specifically with you.
Yeah.
Let's see. What do we got here for comments? Givens looked good, according to Will Collins. I think he's looked good. He's another reliever that I think has looked good.
Yeah, he had I might have mentioned it in pregame, but he had a huge inning in Colorado yesterday. I think it was 7th inning. The bases were loaded, or at least there were a couple guys on, less than 2 outs, and he somehow, some way got out of it. Yeah, man. He sometimes looks like someone who has the plus stuff that sticks out more than others. But then Keegan Thompson said, "Hold my beer tonight." So, I don't know. I don't know anymore.
Speaking of guys that would have been toasted a lot of Cubby Kool-Aid over the years, Jake Arrieta officially retiring from Major League Baseball. I will suggest that Cub fans just wipe away the memory of the return last year. Just forget that it even happened. The comeback didn't even exist. And just go back and think about 15 and 16. And I will argue that Jake Arrieta had as much to do with the Cubs' turnaround in World Series as anybody. Theo made the trade, okay? But we talk about Lester. We talk about Rizzo. We talk about Bryant. We talk about Javi. Jake Arrieta is the guy that really turned it around quickly because of the way he turned his career around with the Cubs.
Oh, yeah.
He was a reclamation project, and you'll never find one like that again. That is the trade of all trades to get him and Strop for a bag of balls.
Seriously, a washing machine.
I mean, like
Steve Clevenger and what was it, Scott Feldman?
Yes. I mean, to get Jake Arrieta, who for a stretch of baseball was the best pitcher in the history of Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
2 no-hitters, Cy Young winner, Hey, don't forget, by the way, I mentioned his turnaround, getting the Cubs franchise turned around. He was 2-0 in the World Series.
Yeah.
There were a lot of stars in the World Series. Jake Arrieta won 2 games in that World Series.
If that game would have gone longer in Game 7, he would have made an appearance in that game.
Yes.
And if the Cubs had gone on to win with him on the mound, that would have been 3 wins.
And then you might have had to consider him as MVP.
I guess, yeah. I do love Nick G's comment here. He says, in those days, Jake Day was a win day. And he puts it perfectly. There was nothing like Jake Day. Like every 5th day when Jake Arrieta was coming to the mound and you woke up and you knew it was Jake Day, you just I think we said it on pregame, you were either watching on TV that night or you're going to the ballpark. It was must see TV. And I think I quote tweeted a guy today, Ryan Spader. He tweeted his stats from the second half of 2015 from July all the way to May of 2016. And the numbers are insane. But I quote tweeted it and said something that people forget, that he also almost no-hit the Red Sox in 2014. I think it was 2014 at least. Because a lot of people are like, oh, he's just had one good year. No. Jake Arrieta was really good part of, 2013 and then most of 2014.
15 and 16.
And 15 were his best years. And then 17 he was serviceable too. He got credited the one win for the Cubs in the NLCS against the Dodgers he helped them avoid the sweep. And that was that game that he pitched, his very last game he pitched as a Cub before going to the Phillies. He put the team on his back that night. He was
suns out, guns out.
Yeah.
I don't care how cold. Tonight
Never wore
he'd have been
sleeves.
no sleeves. Tonight he'd have been out there, no sleeves, Jake Arrieta.
Oh yeah, he would. Yeah, yeah.
Remember that 3-run home run he hit against the Giants too.
Oh
yes,
yeah. He could rake too. Yeah.
I was just trying to remember. I had to fact check myself, but that was insane too. That was the same. Travis Wood also homered in that series.
Yeah,
maybe it was.
Yeah, no, Travis Wood.
That series?
He homered in Game 2 of that series. So that tweet I was talking about, it was tweeted from Ryan Spader. He tweeted, Jake Arrieta maintained a 0.99 ERA over a 29-start stretch from June 21st, 2015 to May 20th, 2016. He was 24-1 with 2 no-hitters during that span. And the one loss was the Cubs getting no-hit by Cole Hamels on July 25th, 2015, which I remember that game because then shortly, or I think the next day after, was the famous Chris Bryant walk-off home run against the Rockies, which then led the Cubs to winning the next 20 of the next 25 games or something like that, on their way to 97 wins.
But it's funny to think the guy won 2 World Series games. He'd gone 108 years without winning World Series. He won 2 of the 4 games, right?
Yep.
And yet and he had 2 no-hitters. So there's 4 unbelievable games. And the one that still pops into my head is the Pirates.
Oh,
shoving it down the Pirates' throat in 2015. That was
all-time tweet.
And that was the flipping point for the Cubs franchise. All of a sudden they went from, hey, we could be pretty good to this team has something. They're not just here to, try and get into the postseason. And so 2015 beating the Pirates, that's the one I won't forget.
Yeah.
And that's crazy. Over 2 no-hitters and 2 World Series wins.
Yeah, so our good friend Dom Frederick tweeted the infamous tweet because going into that game, never forget, Pirates fans on Twitter were adding Jake Arrieta. And there's one guy, his account goes by parody_parrot pirate_parrot.
Or it did.
He might have deleted his account by now, but he said, be ready for the sea of black. And he added Jake Arrieta. And then Jake Arrieta quote tweeted or replied, whatever you want to call it, back in 2015, and said, whatever helps keep your hope alive, just know it doesn't matter. At Cubs. And then he went out and shoved 9 innings down the Pirates' throats. And literally, when Kyle Schwarber hit that homer into the Allegheny River, it was over. Like everyone knew it was over. And you know what's even more awesome was that it was off Garrett Cole. That is an all-time game.
I'm pretty sure he had under 100 pitches in that game, too. I mean, it was something crazy. I'm pretty sure it was under 100 pitches and 11 strikeouts. I mean, it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
I'll give you one quick behind-the-scenes image of Jake Arrieta, okay? Before the Cubs did the renovation, their post-game podium, as you would call it, where the manager speaks and usually the starting pitcher, was maybe 10 feet by 10 feet. It's where they used to store right behind the stands. There was a little dirty hallway where they stored all the rosin and all the stuff for the grounds crew, okay? Just filthy. Dust. Then this little room was like 10 by 10. In the summertime, the walls would sweat and the media would pack in. You'd be like shoulder to shoulder. They expanded it when Jake Arrieta got to the team by about 6 feet, maybe. They took another little closet out and they made it slightly bigger. Jake Arrieta had them jam a Pilates machine back in this corner, and press conferences would be going on, and Jake Arrieta would be doing his Pilates during media availability with the manager. It was. I've never seen anything like it, where you see a professional athlete coming in to work out because he had to get it done then, and he's got to have his sleeves off. I mean, as you say, Cody, he was a vibe.
He was a vibe.
Jake Arrieta was a vibe.
The sleeves, the beard.
And when he was good, he was really, really good for the Cubs. So
one of my all-time favorite Cubs, honestly, and it should be for most Cubs fans as well. I mean, the guy just completely changed his career. So with the Cubs, and
they won't get a trade like that again.
It's going to be hard to top that ever again.
It was a good one. Hey, if you enjoy CHGO, one way to help us out and continue to grow is to download the PointsBet app and use the code CHGO when you sign up. Not only are you going to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000, but if you make that $50 or more first-time deposit, you receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content. You'll even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. And if you have any questions, just email pointsbet@allchgo.com and we will help you out. And in case you missed it, online signup is available in Illinois. You can actually download the PointsBet app right now, register your account, start to finish, all from your phone. It takes about 3 minutes. You'll be signing up with the fastest sports book, and it's easier than ever, so you can start living your bet life in seconds. So what are you waiting for? Once the game starts, don't just bet. Live your bet life with PointsBet. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. So we have another game coming up tomorrow, weather permitting. I was thinking it might have been a doubleheader.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to bag this game, and then they might just try to play 2 because it's supposed to be like maybe near 50 and slightly sunny on Tuesday. So we'll see. I know the big storyline going into that will be Justin Steele, because he's starting and he's been pretty good, a 1.93 ERA for the Cubs. And we talked about this after his last start, that if you had to draw up the first 2 starts for Justin Steele this season, you couldn't ask for much more than what you got those first 2. So now you wait and see if he can do it a third time. And then, like Keegan Thompson, you would start to say, maybe these are some pieces, right? Like, what are you looking for out of him tomorrow?
Well, let's not forget last time out, he probably would have gone longer if the Cubs defense had showed up that night.
Yeah.
Keegan
It wasn't his fault at all.
Yeah, Keegan Thompson bailed him out in that game too.
But you are right, Cody, because that's the game that really could have slipped away. He could have easily given up like 7 runs, and he didn't.
Right. And we remember the post game, we talked about how that easily the Cubs should have lost that game.
Yeah.
And they somehow didn't. So, but yeah, as far as Justin Steele looking like a competent pitcher that I want to go out there every 5th day for the Chicago Cubs. Yeah, this is another chance for him to, prove that he belongs. One thing that I've really loved out of Justin Steele is that when things do get a little dicey for him, he just stays calm and he just gets it done. Whether it's, if he does give up a run, he limits the damage. Again, he went in that start in Colorado. He made it through like the first 3-4 innings without giving up a run.
Right.
And this is with the defense that was behind him that was, not
Shaky
great,
at best.
not great that night. So I'm looking for better defense behind him this time around, and I'm looking for, they let Hendricks go 90-plus pitches tonight. I'm interested to see how many pitches.
How far will he go?
Yeah. I would love to see him go into the 6th inning tomorrow if that is the case of what they did with Kyle Hendricks tonight. Of course, Kyle Hendricks, when he went into the 5th, obviously was running on fumes. But I would love to see Steele at least go 5, but would love to see him go 6 tomorrow.
I mean, he's going against a good lineup. He's going against Josh Fleming, who's been pretty good this season as well. I think you just want to see more of the same. I don't need him to even take that next step of I don't need to see 6 innings or 7 innings. Maybe the Cubs want to see that, but I just want to see more of the same.
Yeah,
because I think he's been.
fair.
I think he's been pretty impressive, and just to repeat what he's done the first 2 games would be a building block in my eyes. So
yeah, maybe I'm jumping way too ahead there. I don't
think that's true.
If he can get some quick outs, one of the reasons that Hendricks was out in the 4th was he had 6 strikeouts, and as we know, Hendricks, he's a he's a bat to ball pitcher, right? Steele, he's shown a little bit of both. Like, he's gotten some quick outs. I've also seen him, strike guys out. So,
well, and the Cubs need that. They need some
quick
starters.
outs.
Well, they need some guys that can miss the bat.
That too, yeah. So yeah, I'm just looking for more progress from Steele tomorrow. It's going to be interesting if Wander Franco is in the lineup tomorrow. The Rays clearly missed him tonight. They could have really used his bat. So hope that right quad tightness isn't so tight for him tomorrow, I guess, if you're a Rays fan.
So what did we decide? We did the who you got picks. I took Wisdom.
I took Seiya.
You took Seiya.
Yep.
Are we just calling it a wash again? We still have no definitive winner? We haven't had a definitive winner yet. My guy hit a home run.
My guy scored
with
the
2
game-winning
RBI.
run. Yeah.
Your guy scored 2 runs and had 2 for 3.
2 for 3 with a hit by pitch.
I'm willing to call it a wash. I kind of thought I had won it with the home run.
Mm-hmm. I'm also okay if we both just get a point.
All right. Either way, it's a wash. Okay, we'll both take a point.
Okay.
Because we don't have a pregame show tomorrow, we need to do our who you got for game 2 of the series.
Oh, man.
Now, in this instance, because you took first, I get to choose first this time.
Okay.
And I'm going to go Seiya this time.
You're going to go Seiya.
Yeah, I'm going to take Seiya this time.
I see what you're doing, Stucky. I see what you're doing here. I love how you acted
3,
like you thought about it for a second. You've been planning this all night.
I don't want to jump off the Wisdom train. He's been hot too. But he struck out in his last at bat, didn't he?
I believe
so.
He did. Yeah, he should have mashed that ball.
I'm sticking with Seiya for now. Ian Happ. I'm just throwing some names your way. Ian Happ's been hot.
Yeah. You know who I'm going to go? I'm going to go with someone we haven't talked about at all tonight. Nick Madrigal.
Wow.
Good call. He's been great the last 2 days.
He's been almost as hot as Wisdom, really.
Yeah. And he led off tonight. Be interesting to see if he does that again tomorrow. Doubt it.
You were told he was just a slap hitter.
I was told he was just a slap hitter, yes. I was also told he sucks at base running, and he had some good base running tonight. So shout out to John in the comments. Thank you. All
right, so you're going Madrigal. I'll go Suzuki. Mm-hmm. And either way, we'll see if we can get another Cubs win. Any other quick comments before we go here? Nikki, 2 strikes, according to Will. Let's go Cubbies.
Will
Cody
has been all over the comments tonight.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
Well, we've had a pretty good chat going there throughout this post-game podcast.
I will admit that on the night games, it's a little disappointing we don't see Rachel in the chat because she's in the UK, so she's definitely sleeping right now. Not that none of these people in the chat right now aren't as cool as her, but she was on all the off days. She's before the season.
January was on, but I think she's left now.
Yeah.
She's left the building. It's getting late.
It's getting late in Texas.
It is getting late.
So it looked like Will was at the game. That's why he was really excited.
Nice.
He stuck out the weather. Good for him.
Wow. That's a brave soul right there. Brave soul. But they did get to see the Cubs win 4-2 over the Rays. And the Cubs are now 6-4 on the season. Am I correct?
6-4, atop the NL Central.
You don't say. The first place Cubs.
First place Cubs.
See if they can add another one against the Rays tomorrow.
I think they are at least.
We'll have the post-game show right here.
Right here.
CHGO Cubs. Make sure you tune in. Thanks for dropping by to check out the CHGO Cubs post-game show presented by PointsBet. Have a great rest of the night, what's left of it, and fly the W.